Today we preview the 2025 Los Angeles Angels with Angels beat writer Jeff Fletcher. You're listening to the Bucko Banter podcast, brought to you by the Just Baseball Media Network. Cue the music.
Rockin' 101, she compliment my taste. Whiskey in my lemonade, cause I like the way it tastes. Best seats at the Pirates game, they let me run the base. Yeah, my time is like my money, cause I can't afford to waste. Wifey is a lawyer, take my date to my dates. Order steak by the plate, send in case after case. Run my race at my pace, clear the grass of the snake.
Welcome back to another team preview. We're joined by Jeff Fletcher today to talk about the Los Angeles Angels. Jeff, welcome on to Bucko Banner.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate you joining us. You're just finished up with another spring training game. We're getting towards opening day. Let's go through 2024 in the offseason real quick, and then I'd like to get a grade and to see if this is enough to compete in the AL West. Last year, 63-99, fifth in the AL West. Through free agency, they added Kenley Jansen, Juan Moncada, Kikuchi, Kevin Newman, former Bucko, Kyle Hendricks, Travis Darno, Tim Anderson on a minor league deal, JD Davis on a minor league deal, and then via trade they added Scott Kingery, Jorge Soler, and then they lost Patrick Sandoval, Eric Wagaman, Matt Moore, Brandon Drury, Kevin Pillar, and then via trade they lost Griffin Canning, Davis Daniel, and Matt Theis. How do you grade this offseason, and is this enough to compete going into 2025?
I'd probably give them about a B for the offseason. They got better for sure. Like none of the additions were, they didn't get Juan Soto or Corbin Burns or anything like that, but they definitely did add a lot of, Kikuchi is the biggest, he's a legitimate front of the rotation starter. Kyle Hendricks, I think, certainly lifts up the back of the rotation if he can get back to the way he was. Travis Darno, I think, helps all the pitchers with his experience behind the plate. And Jorge Soler gives them some power that they didn't really have. Kevin Newman gives them some depth that they didn't really have because they've had a lot of injuries on the infield. So there's just a lot of ways that they've really lifted the floor, so to speak. So they're not going to have these gigantic holes and have these, career minor leaguers playing. So I don't know if it's enough for them to make the playoffs. Probably not, but I think it's definitely enough for them to be going on an upward trajectory and maybe get around 500.
It feels like they were pretty aggressive early on in the offseason. Like they jumped on some of the early free agents. Tim Anderson and JD Davis are two names that come to mind here. They signed on minor league deals. And with Zach Neto out, Anthony Rendon out, do you think that these guys have a chance to make the opening day roster for the Angels?
Tim Anderson is pretty sure going to make the opening day roster. Especially with Neto being out. And then there's also some injury questions to Luis Rengifo and Yohan Moncada, so they really just need another infielder. And Anderson has gotten better throughout the spring, so I think that they feel like he, they don't need him to be great. They just need him to be capable. And, when they have all their guys, then would be maybe their sixth infielder. So it's not like a high bar they have for him. And JD Davis also might make the team. He's a little less certain, but, he is a good right-handed hitting complement to Nolan Chonowell at first base. He can also play some third for when Moncada's out. So, and he's got, a track record. He's a big leaguer, So I think these are just guys that they feel like give them a little more depth.
Jeff, let's go through the projected lineup on Fangraphs going into 2025. Left field, Taylor Ward. Second base, Luis Rengifo. Right field, Mike Trout. At DH, Jorge Soler. Third base, Juan Moncada. Behind the dish, Logan O'Hoppe, Nolan Shanuel at first, Joe Adell in center, and then Kevin Newman at short. And then, of course, the names we mentioned, Tim Anderson, they have projected on the bench, JD Davis on the bench, Travis Darno as the second catcher, and then Mickey Moniak as a fourth outfielder. Is this how you see it playing out going into opening day? Is there somebody else maybe on the projected bench or someone I haven't mentioned that could be in this starting lineup?
I would say that's pretty accurate. I don't know about the order or the batting order, but the only question is Moniak and Adell. One of them is going to be playing center field and the other is going to be on the bench each day. They're both going to be on the team. So I think it's going to be kind of evolving as they go. I don't think they're going to get to the start of the season and say, all right, you're the starting center fielder and you're the backup. I think every day they're going to decide who's going to play. And if one guy gets hot, then he'll they'll ride him, and it's going to go back and forth. But if opening day were tomorrow, I would think that Moniak would probably be the starter and Adele would be on the bench. But I could have a different answer for you 5 days from now. So who knows?
Look at this lineup. It's a pretty solid lineup, honestly, top to bottom. There are some intriguing names here. I know a guy that the Pirates were really interested in. There was rumored to be traded for Taylor Ward. If this team gets to July and is out of the hunt, is he a name that is likely to be dealt, or are there other guys in this lineup that could be dealt to?
There's definitely lots of guys that could be dealt if they're out of it. Taylor Ward is definitely one of them. But the thing with Ward was he was not really playing very well last year at the deadline when the Pirates were looking at him. So I think the offers were not really what the Angels wanted. And they knew that they have him for 2 more years. So they can wait, let him find himself again, be playing better, and then probably get more for him. When you have to trade him, in the middle of this season or next off season or whenever. So I don't think they're going to give him away like you would with a guy who's going to be a free agent. Luis Rengifo, on the other hand, is going to be a free agent at the end of the year. Moncada is going to be a free agent at the end of the year. Soler has a year after this. But those are 3 guys that definitely, 4 if you include Ward, if they are trading people, those definitely could be guys who are traded.
Let's go through the projected rotation real quick. We got Kikuchi, Jose Soriano, former Bucco. Well, he was returned via
briefly,
the 05 draft. Briefly a Bucco. Tyler Anderson, former Bucco, Kyle Hendricks, and Reed Detmers. You got some guys too in waiting. Is this how you see the rotation forming, at least for opening day?
Right now, the number 5 is either going to be Detmers or Jack Kohanowitz. And I would think if you put a gun to my head that it's probably going to be Kohanowitz and Detmers in the bullpen. Wow. But that could change, depending on literally what happens in the last week. But I think Kohanowitz came into the spring a little bit ahead, and he's done nothing to lose that spot. So I think that's what they're going to go with. But it's kind of a good problem that they haven't really had lately, where their 6th starter is usually nobody that's any good that you would really
or a guy that should be in the bullpen.
You wouldn't think, oh man, we're gonna have a good pitcher who can't make our rotation. But that looks like that might be what the case is. Now that could change 2 weeks into the season. Somebody could get hurt or somebody could be terrible. Who knows? But as we sit here in March, it looks like they have 6 decent starting pitchers.
What about the bullpen group? The back end looks pretty strong in Kenley Jansen, Ben Joyce, Brock Burke, and there's a couple other names here and some honorable mentions. How do you see this group going into 2025? Is this a strength of the team with the addition of Kenley Jansen, or are there some names that could be rotating in and out as of every major league bullpen?
I mean, I think anybody who tells you they have an idea of how good their team's bullpen is going to be is lying, because nobody knows.
Fair.
It's all a total crapshoot. The guys they have pitched pretty well last year. I can say that, but who knows what's going to happen? I mean, Kenley Jansen is old. Ben Joyce is very young. He looks great. He's only pitched 45 innings in the big leagues.
Right.
Brock Burke was very good after the Angels got him, but he just got released by the Rangers, and he was not very good in 2023. So, Ryan Zefferjohn, who was very good after the Angels got him, he'd never been in the big leagues before last July. So, last August. So it's super up in the air. I could see them being good. I could see them not being good. I think that's the way every team's bullpen is, but it's just going to be interesting to see how it unfolds.
They also have Robert Stevenson on the shelf because they acquired him last year, and he was he had a good, after leaving the Pirates, had a really good stint in Tampa. A name that I've always been intrigued by, and maybe you can talk me off the ledge because you watch this team every day, Chase Seth. Can he still start? I mean, we talked about Reed Detmers potentially being a 6th starter. He's projected as a middle relief guy right now. Can he still start for this?
Well, he just got optioned today.
Oh, well, good timing.
He had been really bad this spring.
All right.
He had one really great game. He pitched against the Dodgers against their A lineup and struck out 6 of the 9 hitters he faced. And everybody's like, oh, wow, this is the spring for Chase Seth. But then since then, it just wasn't working. They still like him. They still like his potential. He's got a really good splitter. He still could be a big league starter. He could be a big league reliever. They need him to get out of his head a little bit I think. So he's one of those guys. But they're going to keep giving him chances. But as of right now, he's going to have to go to the minors and straighten some things out. But I'm sure he'll be up sometime this year. We'll see him this year, and we'll see what he can do.
You've talked me off the ledge officially. It seems like he shows glimpses, like he shows the stuff here and there, and you're like, oh man, this is a guy that could potentially be something. But yeah, interesting. I mean, again, like it's good.
I mean, I think he pitched like 13 innings this spring, and he had like 15 strikeouts and 10 walks. So that right there, those three numbers tell you all you need to know about how his spring was.
So yeah, absolutely.
What about some prospects here, Jeff? Is there somebody that you're looking forward to watching this year that could potentially contribute to this club, or someone that could potentially just be a fast riser through the system?
Well, Christian Moore was the guy who was their first round pick just last year, and there was a lot of talk. As soon as he showed up in Double-A, he started hitting homers left and right, and he had like a 1,300 OPS through his first 2 weeks in pro ball. And considering the way the Angels quickly called up Nolan Shawnuel and Zach Neto the previous 2 years, it was like, oh my gosh, Christian Moore's coming up. He's going to be in the big leagues a month after he was drafted. But then he hurt his knee, and he didn't come up. And so they pumped the brakes on him a little bit. And spring training, he's shown some flashes of some talent, but he's also had some defensive mistakes. He struck out. So I think he's not ready just yet, but they love his potential. And I think later in the year, especially if they have a bad year and they start trading some guys, or if some guys get hurt, then you'll definitely see him. I'm sure he's going to be in the major leagues sometime this year. And if he's as good as they think he can be, then it's certainly a guy to watch.
Especially if Rengifo is going to be dealt as a future free agent. Like he's a guy that could come in and plug in for Rengifo. But how about, I know we talk about the rotation a lot, but how about this more depth? Caden Dana and Sam Aldegaria, who debuted last year, the Italian pitcher. Are these guys that are going to contribute this year as well?
Well, I think Dana has a much higher ceiling than Aldegaria, but he is pretty raw. Yeah. And he came to the big leagues last year for 3 starts. One was pretty good, and the other 2 were really bad. And in spring training, he had one game. He faced the Cubs big league lineup, and he retired all 9 hitters. And then his other games were awful. So he's a guy. He's 21 years old. He needs some more work in the minors. He needs to tighten up his delivery. But you're not giving up on a 21-year-old. So I think he's definitely a part of the future, but I don't know when that future is going to start.
How about a pick to click, Jeff? A guy that's going to break out this year or be that X factor that's going to take this team to the next level?
Well, there's a guy that we haven't mentioned. You may have heard of, Mike Trout.
Once or twice. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if he's healthy, he's still really good. And even if he's not 1,100 OPS Mike Trout, and he's 900 OPS Mike Trout, that's really good. And if they could somehow get him on the field for, I'm not even saying 160 games, 130, that's a huge bonus, a huge bump. And I think it's not only what he does when he's in the batter's box, but the other guys in the lineup. Now Taylor Ward doesn't feel like he's got to carry the load, and maybe other guys get pitched differently. And I think it could have a big difference. Enough to get to the playoffs, I don't know about that, but certainly, if Mike Trout plays, 130 games, then I think you're definitely looking at a team that's like a 500 team.
Do you know what we would do for just one 900 OPS batter in this Pirates lineup?
A lot, so much.
Let me, can I interrupt you for a little Pirates Angels crossover talk? You hear some of the way people talk about Paul Skeens, and it's a lot like Mike Trout when he first came up. But he's not just like a good pitching prospect, like, there's good pitching prospects that come up all over the place, but like a generational kind of guy.
Right.
And I can tell you from Angels' perspective, when you have that guy and you don't win with him, it just is such a drag on the whole sport. And it's such a tired narrative. Yeah, it's such a tired narrative. And in the Angels' case, they tried. They spent a lot of money. They signed a lot of guys. They were just all the wrong guys, and it didn't work. So the Pirates are not even doing that right now. But I can see if the Pirates don't change some things, that 2 years from now this like wasting Paul Skeens is like a hashtag the way wasting Mike Trout.
Come on, Jeff. We got Tommy Pham. Like,
Yeah, what are we talking about here?
Yeah. Anyway, I hope that they don't have that because I think he's great. And my in-laws were all from Pittsburgh, and I think that it would be great to see if the Pirates would be good again sometime.
Yeah, the wasting Paul Skeens talk started right when he was drafted, like almost immediately in Pittsburgh, because we know that we're not going to spend any money. So it's just a ticking time bomb. But what about the biggest what if for this Angels team? Is there a big concern amongst fans for a specific player group, pitchers, hitters, bullpen? Is there something that really stands out that concerns you going into 2025?
I mean, obviously, you ask any team, they'll say injuries. But
Yeah.
I think in the case of the Angels, if you want to go with something beyond that, it's that they've got these guys like Neto, Ohapi, Shonowell, Jose Soriano that are all like poised to take the next step and become like all-star caliber players. And if those guys just don't, like if they're just not as good as we thought they were going to be, and like this is all they are, or they get worse, that would be like a crushing blow for the Angels because they don't have that many of them. And when you do get a guy who looks like, hey, this is the future guy, and if something goes wrong with that, then that really sets you back.
Yeah, no, absolutely. All right, Jeff, before we let you go, how about a 2025 prediction? It could be team oriented or even player oriented. What do you got for us for the 2025 Angels?
Oh, geez. I think they're going to be better than they were last year.
It's a good start.
That's a pretty easy one. They only won 63 games last year. So, no, I'm going to say that I'm going to say Mike Trout is going to play 120 games and is going to remind people how good Mike Trout can be. And I think that's going to be cool for everybody to see.
I think that's best for the sport too, because when Mike Trout is healthy, man, there is like not a more fun player to watch in the game. So
awesome. Well, Jeff, we appreciate you joining us. Where can our listeners find your work at?
I'm on Twitter or X at Jeff Fletcher OCR. And if you just get on there, you'll get the links to all my stories. So that's probably the easiest way.
Awesome. Well, appreciate you coming on, Jeff. Enjoyed talking to Angels with you, and hopefully maybe we can do this again, maybe before a Pirates Angels series.
Sure thing. Thank you.
Best seats at the Pirates game, they let me run the base. Yeah, my time is like my money, cause I can't afford to waste. Wifey is a lawyer, take my date to my dates or the steak by the plates and